We've done numerous shootouts of flagship phones, searching for the best option that money can buy. While all the major breakthroughs are first seen in that segment, phone makers have recently been focusing a lot on budget-conscious buyers as well. The sub 15,000 rupee segment is currently seeing immense competition with plenty of options to choose from. You could even say that this is the most exciting price segment for mobiles in India right now. Each smartphone has its own strengths and weaknesses, so if you're specifically looking for one with great cameras, look no further. With its starting price of 10,999 rupees, the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1 leaves very little room for complaints. Good looks and performance aside, it also has a pair of rear cameras that gave us surprisingly good results. It has a 13 megapixel primary sensor paired with a 5 megapixel depth sensor that gives you that much sought after depth of field effect. The results were especially good in daytime with vibrant colors and sharp details on subjects that were shot in close-up. Details and textures at a distance did take a bit of a hit, but the overall image quality was still quite good. At night, details get a little fuzzy and it takes much longer to focus, but things are largely under control. The rear camera can also record 4K video. On the front, the Asus Zenfone Max Pro M1 has an 8 megapixel camera with a selfie flash. Xiaomi's Redmi Note 5 Pro is quite a popular device at its price, and understandably so. It gets a lot of things right with its vibrant 5.99-inch edge-to-edge display, a Snapdragon 636 SoC, 4GB of RAM, and a sub 15,000 rupee price tag. There are also dual rear cameras that perform quite well in our tests. There's a primary 12 megapixel camera paired with a 5 megapixel depth sensor to bring you that portrait mode effect. The results we got were well detailed with good color reproduction, though there were some issues with the white balance in harsh lighting. This phone can shoot video at 1080p and there's electronic image stabilization too. The 20 megapixel front camera captures detailed selfies and also uses AI to simulate a depth mode, which worked well in most cases for us. The Redmi Note 5 Pro also comes in a 6GB RAM variant that's priced at 16,999 rupees if that's what you'd prefer. Vivo has been known to put a lot of emphasis on its cameras, especially the ones on the front of its devices. The Vivo V5S is no different. Its 20 megapixel front camera was clearly a high priority for the company than the 13 megapixel rear camera. If it's selfies you're after, then the ones taken by the V5S have a good amount of detail and accurate colors, especially if you have favorable lighting. There does tend to be a bit of noise around the corners in low light, but this phone still does better than most others in this segment. It also has a face beauty mode to touch up your selfies. You can use a group selfie mode to take panoramic shots too. Now the rear camera is also impressive with its quick autofocus and the details it captures. There was however slight edge distortion that we noticed in our tests. Finally, video recording is supported at 1080p resolution. Now the V5S was launched at 18,990 rupees last year, but now you can easily find it for less than 15,000 rupees. Though not as powerful as its Pro sibling, the Redmi Note 5 does have a good set of cameras. It uses the same 12 megapixel rear camera as the Redmi Note 5 Pro, only without the secondary depth sensor. Its performance is comparable, which means that you can get good results with sharp details and accurate colors in most lighting conditions. Though you lose out on the portrait mode, there are options such as manual, beauty, and panorama to help you get good results in various scenarios. The manual mode is restricted to only white balance and ISO settings. There is a quick toggle for HDR which helped bring out more details in darker areas in our test shots, though it wasn't as good with brighter spots. The 5 megapixel selfie camera has a diffuse selfie flash, which works well in low light. Video recording maxes out at 4K for the rear camera and 1080p for the front one, both without stabilization. At 10,999 rupees, this is one of the better camera phones you can get at a lower end of its segment. Samsung's On Max created quite a buzz when it launched last year. It offered a number of interesting features such as face recognition and a sleek design, but what really stood out were its cameras. It has a 13 megapixel primary snapper that produces well-detailed results with vibrant colors and the right amount of exposure. Just like Samsung's 2017 flagship Galaxy S8, the Samsung On Max's rear camera has an f1.7 aperture, which gave us good results even in low light. There's also a 30 megapixel selfie camera with a front flash on the On Max, plus options to change your skin tone, make faces slimmer, and enlarge eyes if that's what you really like. Finally, the phone also supports 1080p video recording. The Galaxy On Max was launched at 16,900 rupees, though you should easily be able to buy it for less than 15,000 today. So this is our list of some of the best camera phones you can buy under 15,000 rupees. Thanks for watching, and for all things tech, log on to gadgets360.com.